everyone. So I have someone very special here today. This is my mom, this is Linda, this is Mama H, whatever you want to call her. Every time I tell someone I'm a triplet, the first person they actually talk about is my mom. Because they say things like, how did you do it? And you're insane. And I think people are in awe at what you did. So let's talk about it. I also want to make a quick note that it is a privilege that you had Dad, a great partner to help. But in addition to a great partner, what are some things that helped get you through it?
I also had a triplet support group, which was very helpful because we would meet periodically and share ideas, starting when we were pregnant, on how to carry 3 babies, how to be comfortable, how to get enough nutrition, how to just manage a high-risk pregnancy.
Okay, so I guess that's kind of phase 1, right? Like, how do you actually get through the pregnancy?
You join a triplet group.
What if someone doesn't have that?
Most do. I didn't pay for it.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah.
I bet they have some that are virtual too.
Nowadays, I'm sure they do.
Yeah. You had a triplet support group. You had advice of doctors during your pregnancy. So once we were born, which is another whole story for another day.
Yes.
Let's talk about like phase 1, like diaper routine. Like, how did you like sleep? Let's talk about all those nitty gritty things of first days, first months.
Phase 1 is that I knew that we were going to need some kind of help. I knew of another mom and dad that had triplets, and she did not have any help, and she was beyond miserable, exhausted, and it was very difficult on their marriage. It was like, how are we going to get the right help here? You know, family. We're fortunate that we were also able to have some hired support. Yeah. And the funny story about that is I was very pregnant and I was in Joanne fabrics, which is like not me because I don't sew, so I have no idea what I was getting. But I was in there and I was in line. It was a fairly long line, and this woman behind me starts talking, and I must have mentioned, because I was desperate at that point. I don't know.
And you hired her?
I did. She mentioned, like, when we just started talking, and I told her I thought I might need nighttime help until they could sleep through the night. And she was like, I'll help you. And
that's amazing.
Her name was Genevieve, and I learned a lot from Genevieve. She was probably in her 60s at that time, and she would come and do a night shift so that we didn't have to get up. Steve and I did not have to get up every single time.
Steve is dad. Steve is dad. Yeah. And so that helped you sleep, which is imperative.
Right. I mean, we still were sleep deprived, but we weren't doing 2 hours feedings all throughout the night. We had Genevieve, who would also be with one of us, so we did an every other. That was huge, and just keep in mind that is hopefully a short-lived process.
So we hired the nighttime help, and so what about like scheduling in general with diapers, bath time, feeding? Because isn't that kind of like the first couple months? It's just that.
Honey, the first 3 years.
But then we start walking from that time. But
diapers.
But But so how did you make that system happen?
So really, what happened to that system? I also had very fortunate. I had a full-time person help out for the first 18 months. Actually, the first year was again very imperative, and so Steve, my husband, what he did and did really well is he made sure that there were 24 bottles. He had the bottles pre-made every day. So 3 babies, if you eat every 2 hours, we just had a ton of bottles, and we did that every day.
Wow.
And then
love you.
I love you too. Because I just cleared that you just need a ton of bottles.
I guess. I mean, I don't even know.
Okay, so if
the
you
math
ate
here
every
is
2 hours, plus your preemies, I should say that.
We were.
So you ate every 2 hours. There were 3 of you. That's 3 times 2 is 6 times 4 is 24.
A lot of bottles. So that means a lot of diapers.
A lot of diapers.
So how did you guys like make a schedule with that though? Like this kid eats this time, then
It was, are we recorded now?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. So what we did about the feeding schedule, diaper changing schedule, bath schedule, is if one person was going to eat one baby, they were all going to eat. If one baby was getting their diaper changed, they're all going to get their diaper changed.
Interesting.
And that was just advice we were given, and it worked really well. So, and I'm also a schedule person. The predictability and unpredictability household with 3 babies that were preemies. They were born. They were. Paige was 4'1", she was the biggest, and then Kristen was 3'8", and Lee was 3'1". Those are little babies. They needed to eat a lot. Our life was Groundhog Day because every day was the same for a very, very long time. Eat, burp, sleep, bath, walk, keep going.
It's like we're a Chipotle line.
It's like you're a Chipotle line.
Yeah.
People don't believe this, but it's very true. The doctor told me as soon as they are 10 pounds, they should be able to sleep through the night. Like, don't think that you still need to feed them all the time. And I kid you not, when they were all 10 pounds,
Night.
they slept through the night. But I think since their bodies got used to the predictability of you have a bottle, you have a bath, you get a story, you go to bed. And it was like they were primed to know that what was coming next. Another big milestone, I would say, was about 18 months because you're very mobile, you understand language better, and so that's a new phase. You're everywhere. Actually, it was at that point that I felt like I don't need somebody here all the time. Even though you were more mobile, there was more communication, and it didn't feel as survival instinct.
We've covered pregnancy and getting to month 18 with triplets. So what are some other things you did to stay grounded for yourself?
Every day I made sure I got outside with nature. We would go outside and play, just like this big portable fence I remember we had, and you guys could play. And I had a very large stroller, and we would go on walks every day. That was pretty much a ritual. You have to make time for yourself. I know a lot of people put themselves at the bottom of the barrel, but even 30 minutes of alone time or fresh air or just one child with you is very grounding.
That kind of actually brings me to my next question. How did you help decide and manage when you could have one-on-one time with each of us?
Well, the first way that we allowed that to happen was that Steve would take you guys one at a time out for like, would it be ice cream or to the store or something like that?
Daddy-daughter dates.
Daddy-daughter dates. So that was one way. And then the same, if someone was at home helping, then I would just take one of you with me. And, the funny thing is that for the majority of situations, though, you guys just wanted to be together.
Oh.
So it was kind of like,
That's cute.
all or nothing here.
Something else that we had talked about that you did is like nighttime was a really important time to have one-on-one. Like you would tuck each of us into bed individually, ask about our days, and that was kind of special way to get one-on-one time, right? Yeah.
Definitely. Bedtime was individual.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Another great time to talk to your kids, which you will hear, it's kind of a standing joke, but like you've got your child's attention when they're captivated in your car and they can't leave. A really good opportunity to have one-on-one conversations and see how everybody's feeling.
Okay, I realize we could probably answer questions for hours, but I'm just going to get your thoughts on some topics.
Okay.
Thoughts on matching.
It's fun at times, but in my mind, it was never a driving force. Sometimes maybe it was convenient. There's 3, or make them similar but not totally matching. And I would say that was just in your first couple of years mostly. And maybe if there were pictures, it would be fun. But if you guys liked it, then I was fine with it. If you didn't want to do it, we didn't do it.
I would say, looking back now, I wasn't a fan of matching because I think it kind of maybe hindered finding our own self-expression. But when you're little and you want a photo, I get it.
Everybody's got to learn how to dress themselves and their own style and creativity.
Yeah. Thoughts on birthdays?
Chaos.
Why chaos? That was like the first word. That's so sad. Why was it chaos?
It wasn't bad chaos. It was just a lot. We wanted you to be able to feel, your own individuality on your birthday, so your opinion was important. One way we could do that is if 3 different cupcakes or 3 different desserts or something like that. You would talk among yourselves and agree with what activity you wanted to do. But if it was different, then we would make
Like
sure
one
we
wanted to
did
go to
that.
the zoo, one wanted to go to the park. You would try to honor that.
Absolutely.
That's sweet.
Absolutely. Just try to honor it. And birthdays were fun. I said chaos as a joke, but they were happy. They were joyous. You guys always had a blast.
You know what else I liked is that you would sing happy birthday to us individually, right?
Yeah,
And
we
we each
did.
got our own happy birthday,
We
which I
did.
would recommend because it is like it sounds so silly, but it was at times hard to share birthday.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it is hard. And people that don't share a birthday maybe don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do share a birthday, I'm sure there's times you wish, like, I just wish it was all about me today. Maybe a little bit.
Rolling right along. This is always fun to talk about. So, how did you help us delegate chores?
Well, it was more of you guys working it out amongst yourself, how it was going to feel fair. So it was
Fair.
a constant
So
negotiation. So in a dishwasher, you have your top rack, your middle rack, and then your bottom rack, and they would negotiate who
It's embarrassing.
unloaded which rack at what time.
It's because she said it. Everything had to feel fair. And so we were fighting over silverware versus cups, and we'd get mad like, well, silverware's better than cups.
And I was like, guys, emptying a dishwasher takes 5 minutes. So chores were always a big negotiation,
Yeah.
mostly amongst you, the 3 of you.
So you kind of were like, this is what needs to be done, and you guys can figure it out?
We gave some, well, yeah, I mean, a lot of times, yes. You need to go pick up sticks. You need to do the walnuts. You need to
This is such
make
an Indiana
breakfast
answer.
for everybody. You need to, whatever.
Sticks and walnuts.
I can just remember doing the yard work was always like,
Yeah.
where's Paige? It's a standing joke. Where's Paige?
Okay, can I defend myself here? My sisters are 6 inches taller than me, and they could hop on a lawnmower and mow the grass. Meanwhile, that felt like climbing Mount Everest to me because it was hard.
No, with the dishwasher, it was always like, where's Paige? And she's like, going to the bathroom.
Maybe we'll
Paige
cut
would
that.
always leave chores to go to the bathroom. It's a standing joke.
I contributed in different ways. Also, now you've been staying with me. You've seen me unloading the dishwasher and taking out the trash, and I turned out okay.
They grow up, y'all. They
Yes,
grow
that's
up.
huge, right?
It's huge.
Because this channel is primarily about how to honor yourself as an individual,
Yes.
how did you help facilitate that between us? Because you did. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I feel that how we honored you as individuals is that whatever you like to do, we encouraged you to do it. Like what lights them up, what are they interested in, and and then follow their lead with that. And if they're a little bit confused, like should I do what the other person's doing, then just make some suggestions. Would you like to try this? Would you like to try that? And that seemed to work out really well for us.
Okay, one final question. Do you want to talk about when you got the phone call that I started my period?
Well, first I want to say you knew what that was So it wasn't like,
Oh, I knew what a period was.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes. Well, a lot of people,
I
they
know.
don't necessarily know that. And they're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So they were, obviously educate your children about their bodies. So, but the funny thing about this, I got the call, and the person that was the receptionist at the school at the time called me and said, your daughter, Paige, started her period.
In church.
In church. And
Great.
could you please just come over and bring her some pads? And so I'm like, well, yeah. So I grab them and I go over there, and the funny thing was that this receptionist that was also a mom and her daughter was at the same school freaked out. She goes, this is my worst nightmare. Like when my daughter starts her period, and like, how do you handle that? And I was like, excuse me, but I just need to see my daughter
'Cause it's
because she
happening to
just
me.
did start her period. So
Do you want to tell everyone how many pads you brought me?
now I don't remember this, but
A Costco bag. Of
probably so you could keep them in your locker.
Mom, you came in.
Everywhere you go, you bring a lot of things, not just one.
Yeah, it's just you were used to it, I guess.
I guess used to it.
We're getting real on this channel. So before you go, is there any other like words of wisdom you want to give? A, let's start with a triplet parent, or B, triplets themselves.
Really, what I would say is your intuition's going to guide you. If you need help, ask for help. My biggest feedback would be the days are long, the years are fast. Enjoy it. Have fun. It's a blast.
That's so sweet. Okay, thanks, Mommy. This was so fun.
Thank you for having me.
Aw.
I love being on your YouTube channel. And if you guys have any questions for Paige, I'm sure she would maybe answer them in her comments.
Yeah, and when Linda comes back to LA, we'll pop her on again.